two of Nigeria's largest companies by market value, Dangote Cement and MTNN Nigeria, are in the news. The cement maker is conducting a share buyback program, 1.7 billion, while telco giant MTNN is cancelling billions of unissued shares. That's part of your market street for the week ending today. Let me chat to this and other headlines in the week as the head of dealing and CEO at Carry Asset Management, Chukwu, joins me now for this particular conversation. Good evening, sir. Thanks for coming through for this. We'll have talking with you on Friday. Just give you a summary of the market. So let's squawk to this. Let's start with the Nigerian exchange. Some of your young colleagues, the new ones are coming up. 100 of them or so were newly inducted by the NGX, the dealing clerks, but they are asked to uphold ethics and integrity. Why is that crucial for the market at this time?
Thank you, Bosse, for having me. In the first place, one of the things we have to recognize is that the market is expanding. The products being offered are expanding. The market is being deepened in terms of breadth and depth. So we need to continuously bring in young people to have the skills and competencies to play in the market. Otherwise, we are going to become like some of those species that became extinct because their younger generation did not follow through. So one of the things that is happening in the market, that happened in the market yesterday, is that we inducted people who have qualified as stockbrokers and have gone through the articleship, the training process to become to actually effectively trade on the exchange. So so in effect, for us, it's evidence of the fact that the institution is designed, the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers is designed in such a way that we continue to have a pipeline of skills that will continue to develop the market and as well as provide services to investors.
Well, let's talk about that. That's really good talking about. But then if we're coming to the market, the SEC is talking about ongoing efforts to rebuild the E-Dividend management mandate system platform to cut down on unclaimed dividends. How much about this do we know? Why is the SEC looking to rejig that platform?
You know, one of the things is that we have to recognize that the issue of unclaimed dividend has become a very thorny issue, particularly because we've even seen a situation where the federal government tried to latch onto those funds by asking that any unclaimed fund should be moved to the federal government to DMO to manage. So as the operator and supervisor in that market, the NGX and SEC have compelling need to ensure that, one, investors who have invested in the market get their dividend, and that will reduce to the barest minimum the issue of unclaimed dividend. The E-Dividend mandate was introduced to eliminate instances where people who got their dividend will not get dividend warrant because the postal system does not work well, or the registrar failed to mail to the appropriate address, or the investor had to change the address, and therefore they failed to receive the dividend end on his or her investment. That's the concept why the E-Dividend was introduced. And the fact that they want to revamp it to make sure that if there are still gaps in that process, they're eliminated. And I know that to a large extent, the issue of new, and I repeat, new unclaimed dividend is very few. Because now when you open a stockbroking account, you are required to also fill your E-Dividend mandate. You are supposed to fill the bank account where you receive your dividend payments. And once you do that, and that E-Dividend mandate is updated by your registrar, then automatically, whenever dividends are paid, it goes straight to your account. I think what we may need to look at is have a centralized database where all investors in the capital market have their accounts where they receive their dividends, so that irrespective of whether you move your, whether the house or the company move their registrar, that the E-Dividend mandate remains the same thing. And it's not that you have to open E-Dividend mandate on every stock, which is what obtains today. Because all you need to do is that for every stock you have, you invest in, you have to open an E-Dividend mandate with the registrar that's in charge of that stock, that managing that stock. So we should be able to look at a centralized E-Dividend mandate platform where once you are an investor in the capital market, you just have to fill one single E-Dividend mandate that resides with NGX or SEC or CSCS, so that irrespective of the register of that share stock, you get your dividend directly into your bank account.
Just make it as easy as a BVN. Just give me one single number, one single registration, and everything is fine. But let's chart to MTN, which yesterday secured shareholders' approval to cancel a number of unissued shares. What's this company looking to achieve with that?
Yeah, boss, you know, one of the regulation that came up recently from SEC is that publicly quoted companies must not have unissued shares. So if you have unissued shares, you have to either, I think that regulation either came from amended corporate affairs, CAMA, that is Companies and Allied Matters Act, or from SEC. I can't remember exactly which of them came up with that, but there is a regulation today that stipulates that every quoted company must not have unissued shares. So if you have unissued shares, you have to either issue them by either doing a right offer or special placement, or in the alternative, you may have to cancel them. I think that's why MTN is canceling their unissued shares. So what will be going on subsequently is that when a company wants to issue shares, they will register new shares, and then we'll also have to issue those shares. As we speak today, we in Cowley are handling a similar transaction where a company had finished issuing their right and public offer. They still have unallotted unissued shares, and then have to now do a special placement to issue those shares. I think that's the reason behind MTN canceling their unissued shares.
Interesting. One of the other biggest company on the market is Dangote Cement, which is in the market looking to buy back its own shares, roughly 2 billion naira. That's quite a whole lot. What are the ramifications of this share repo by Dangote Cement for the company, for the market, and for shareholders?
Well, one of the things that happen when a company buys back its shares is that its ability to pay the dividend payout increases because when you buy back your shares, they become treasury shares, so you have to cancel them. So, and companies do that if they have surplus liquidity. Normally, companies that buy back their shares are companies that are the matured phase of their growth trajectory, because they have no need to invest further, and they have no need to go back to investors to seek for additional capital. I wouldn't know whether Dangote is in that same situation, but these are the reasons behind most companies that buy back their shares. And when you do that, you are going to cancel those shares, reduce the number of shares listed or quoted of that company, and that means that the dividend payout will improve, which will mean that their price will also go up. These are the things that will follow from a buyback and cancellation of shares, because once you do that, the number of listed shares will reduce. So if you are still paying the same volume of dividend or the same amount of dividend, the dividend per share will increase, and that will incentivize investors kind of to reward further shareholders who remain faithful to that organization. But normally when companies do that, they don't expect their dividend growth to continue because they are almost, in most instances, they are at their matured phase.
Well, you know, Johnson Chukwu, the last time I checked, if you give Dangote Cement or Dangote $1 million, he's going to say thank you and give you a very good handshake. So you can always use more money at the top, how big you are. Even Elon Musk will take that from you and say thank you, send you a tweet and say thank you, Johnson Chukwu, for sending that $1 million for the weekend. We can all use extra money. Thank you so much. And we appreciate you squawking into the market this evening to wrap up the week. Have a pleasant evening. Johnson Chukwu, CEO at Carry Asset Management.